So I didn't necessarily want to become Christian news guy tonight, but I do like to commentate on the culture as a whole as it relates to our faith, and that's one of the key pillars or things that I started this podcast and this YouTube channel for, is to just talk about that because I've been feeling that shift happen in the culture, and nothing shows that more than what I recently just saw on. I, like many people, I'm sure, have been following the Artemis 2 mission to the moon. And so I've loosely following it. It's not like I'm looking at every single live stream and thing that's happened, but I see clips and was mildly interested in it. It's the first time we've had a moon mission in how long? But I did see a couple clips, especially around Easter, of the astronauts talking about faith and religion, and I wanted to share those clips with you if you haven't heard them, or for some reason you want to know my thoughts on it. I don't know why you guys click on these things, but let's watch the first clip I'm going to show you. It was a message that they recorded on Easter Sunday a few days ago. So here is a message from the Artemis 2. The audio is a little shaky here, but the important bits is clear. So let's listen in on this.
This time of year is something that many religions and many cultures hold dear. It's a time of emotions such as joy, as well as solemnness, honoring what's going on both in our world and in our religious beliefs. On board, we did hide a few eggs around the cabin. They were the dehydrated scrambled egg variety, but we're all pretty happy with them.
Birthday to my father, Victor Glover Sr.
It gets louder in a
Happy
second.
Easter to everyone down there on Earth. And with that, I will pass it off to Jeremy. Thanks, Victor. Happy Easter, everyone. We're talking up here as a crew, and we did want to send a special Easter message on this day. And, no matter your faith or religion, for me, the teachings of Jesus were always a very simple truth of love, universal love. Love yourself.
Okay, so nothing too big there. That was I believe that was the captain of the mission that was speaking at the end there. And it's like doesn't matter what religion you are, but the teachings of Jesus are ubiquitous and universal. And we've heard this from a lot of like cultural Christians over the years. Like Richard Dawkins used to say that, like, okay, everything in the Bible is ridiculous, but Jesus did have some good ideas. That was a very common thing of the new atheist movement. It's like, yeah, it's all crap, but he does have some good, like almost like a fable. Like there are some good lessons in there, and that's kind of what. Obviously, I don't want to be too harsh on this guy because he's just trying to do a politically correct answer. But the individual in the gray T-shirt in the front here, that is Victor Glover. I believe that's Victor, and he actually a couple days before that had a different message that was a little bit more profound, and so we're going to listen in on that.
Observances are important, and as we are so far from Earth and looking back at the beauty of creation, I think for me one of the really important personal perspectives that I have up here is I can really see Earth as one thing. And when I read the Bible and I look at all of the amazing things that were done for us who were created, it's you have this amazing place, this spaceship. You guys are talking to us because we're in a spaceship really far from Earth, but you're on a spaceship called Earth that was created to give us a place to live in the universe, in the cosmos. I think maybe the distance we are from you makes you think what we're doing is special, but we're the same distance from you, and I'm trying to tell you, just trust me, you are special. In all of this emptiness, this is a whole bunch of nothing, this thing we call the universe. You have this oasis, this beautiful place that we get to exist together. I think as we go into Easter Sunday, thinking about, all the cultures all around the world, whether you celebrate it or not, whether you believe in God or not, this is an opportunity for us to remember where we are, who we are, and that we are the same thing, and that we got to get through this together.
Pretty Cool. So that is an astronaut who is on a mission that actually they became the four individuals to get the furthest away from the planet in human history. Pretty impressive. Pretty cool. And I don't know what his background is. I'm sure he didn't end up on the Artemis 2 mission by accident. I'm sure he has a more than sufficient academic background. And he's a NASA scientist. He's an astronaut. Not typically the kind of person that would be talking about God and talking about spiritual things, and especially referring to the earth as a creation and things like that. And so to me, it's emblematic of just where the culture is going. We're feeling more comfortable talking about these things. And what I'm hopeful for is that science and religion can stop having such an adversarial relationship and we can begin to coexist a little bit, because I really don't think there is not a single, and I'm someone who subscribes to science, for the most part. Like I don't deny scientific discovery and evidence, and and the laws of the natural world, right? The laws of the natural world, I don't reject those in order to fulfill my preconceived notion of how things work and operate based off of my faith. I think that they can work together. And the fact that we're seeing these two worlds join together in this, this astronaut on this historical mission to the moon, and he is the furthest away that any human has ever been from Earth. And he looks at the earth and says, this is a creation. This is something that was created. Look at the space of nothingness. And then there's this beautiful little utopian planet that we get to call home. I like how he does equate it to like a spaceship, that this is our spaceship. And he talks about it for a second. And it's really cool because I don't think 10 years ago or 15 years ago or 20 years ago that we necessarily would have been hearing that kind of language from an astronaut on a mission to the moon, to be honest with you. It got very trendy in the early 2000s to just, for the culture to just say, hey, we've outgrown religion. It's this old world view of the world that is not, that we have outgrown, right? I believe that was the name of Sam Harris's book. It was like Outgrowing Religion or something like that. I never read it. I've just heard about it. And I think I've read excerpts from it. And that was the culture a while ago, is that if you are an academic, if you consider yourself a serious person who believes in science, believes in, logic and the way of the world, and it was almost seen as unlogical to be a person of faith, especially if you're a Christian, right? Especially if you, believed in a created world. And so I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was really neat that we're seeing an astronaut talk about these things. And I always cringe at the people who are online. Like, I think about, like, every time I listen to the Joe Rogan podcast, every time Joe Rogan so much as references Jesus, there's YouTube is flooded with a million videos on, oh, he's converting to Christianity. And I feel like there's just pressure put on. And I feel like as Christians, we can get really, really excited because we felt like we just were kind of ignored for so long. And then, like, anytime someone's just like, oh, by the way, Jesus, we're like, Jesus, I like Jesus. And we get a little overzealous. And that's not my intention. At all, but it's just commentary on the society, and it's not to like put pressure on people to be like, hey, look, like, it's coming back, it's back, we're here. I thought it was interesting, and I just wanted to make an observation that I just don't think that an astronaut would have said that 10, 15 years ago. And it's cool, right? I mean, for so long I would say definitely in like my sort of like young adult years in high school, and then you go to college, and then you have college professors who, I've never had a professor be like straight up say, if you're a Christian, you're an idiot or something, but they, little comments here and there, your peers, it was cool to be an atheist, or it's cool to be spiritual but not religious, because, we've outgrown organized religion, and it's just this old antiquated idea that we needed to survive as a tribe, and the whole spiritual and not religious thing that I've always kind of harped on. and it feels like the pendulum is kind of swinging back the other way. And these things are cyclical. I'm sure before, my life ends, it'll swing back the other way to where being an atheist is cool again. So is that necessarily proof that it's all true, it's all real? Not this particular instance, or not these little cultural things that have been happening, but it is cool that it's neat that as a person of faith, it's the culture's beginning to bring it back in and accept it a little more again. Not that it was ever like we're ever cast out or anything, but there are little cultural cues that made that maybe we feel a little more welcome now, or um a little more comfortable with sharing our ideas and our true thoughts of the world. And I think there are more of us than secular culture thought, And so it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. And it's kind of humbling that this guy who is just an incredibly impressive person is orbiting the moon, and he's just like, man, this creation is beautiful. That's beautiful to me. That's really cool. And so yeah, I just want to share that with everyone and talk about tonight. And so yeah, that's all I have today. And until next time, this is Jacob signing out of the Discoveries in Faith podcast and YouTube channel. Please comment down below if you have any thoughts, if you think I'm silly for bringing this up, or if you have your own perspective. As long as you're respectful, I welcome all of it. All right. Have a good rest of your week, everybody.